And joining us now for this conversation is SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena, who is looking at this particular BRICS summit. For us, Sophie, of course, President Cyril Ramaphosa meeting his Russian counterpart there as Russia now takes over the chairmanship of BRICS. Let's talk about the significance of this meeting.
Quite important, as you know, that President Putin is going to use this meeting to demonstrate that he is not isolated. He might be isolated by the West and also America in particular, but he does have friends in the South. And therefore, this is a clear indication when you look at member states or countries from the South who have decided to attend this meeting. Just now, before I came in here, I saw the arrival of the president of Iran. So based on what's happening in the Middle East, you can see that he is going to really lead the headlines internationally in relation to hosting this important meeting. But also, he has already indicated that it is not just going to be a meeting where they are just talking. He wants tangible results. And one of the issues that is likely going to make the West very angry, a decision that has to be taken in relation to use of currencies. They are pushing that member states of BRICS or countries that are affiliated to BRICS, some of them are just friends of BRICS, must use their own national currencies to trade amongst themselves. And if this is adopted by the heads of state and government meeting, now it becomes a resolution. We were talking about this because this was a discussion at the ministerial level up to the Development Bank, which is a BRICS bank. Now this must be adopted by the leaders.
And I suppose at the same time, the expansion is another issue that we saw even starting as a conversation right here on African soil when the summit was held and South Africa, was still the chairman. That's also going to be a focus because he says he wants to ensure that there's a seamless integration of these countries as well that are going to be new attendees.
Yes, there are many countries who have indicated that they want to join this group. 30 countries have indicated that they want to join. You know that when South Africa hosted the summit, other countries did join, like your Egypt, your Ethiopia, your Iran, your United Arab Emirates, which are by extension very powerful nations, particularly when you look at the Gulf region or the Middle East and also the North on the continent. Now, we expect more countries indicating their willingness to be part of this group. And I think President Putin, because he wants to really prove to the West that they are not the only best thing in the world that can maintain peace or ensure vibrant trade relations, he is going to insist that some of them be admitted, and of course then the process will start. And also the other important issue is they are going to discuss the issue of the multilateralism and also multipolar world. I think if you want to do that, you need more countries to support your vision. And I think he is going to use this opportunity to demonstrate to particularly the West that multilateralism will continue with or without the West. But secondly, that the issue of multipolar world, it's here. There's no turning back.
And there's also, of course, as we've been discussing even in the lead up to this particular summit, the interest in the countries that he's also going to be meeting with on the sidelines to have bilateral conversations, because this is a man who last year could not travel to South Africa, and now he's going to even have an opportunity to have everybody in the room and meet with them, as you say, to prove that he's not isolated.
Well, countries to watch is China. He meant Xi Jinping. You could see the body language that these are friends, and the message was clear that those who are trying to isolate me, I have the second largest economy supporting me, and in future this second largest economy is going to be the first economy in the world. And also the meeting with the Prime Minister of India India is the most largest population and in terms of size, and therefore a powerful GDP, a powerful country. He is expected to meet the president of Iran. You know that Iran is so in the news, particularly in terms of what's happening in the Middle East. And also when you look at the building of the nuclear power and also those atomic bombs, and with Russia being a nuclear power, now you have Iran also a nuclear power. I think he is going to have more interest in those countries, sending a message to his enemies, particularly those in the north who are supporting Ukraine, that I also have the military might in terms of support from big countries, not only trade and investment.
And of course, as you talk about, you know, the issues of trade and really just how, you know, Africa, not only South Africa, but Africa begins to also position itself, because there is, of course, a lot of talk about trade in, you know, the continent that needs to be boosted. Let's talk about what else can we expect as the summit then continues.
I think what is important is to see how the new members like your Egypt and particularly Ethiopia are going to position themselves in terms of the contributions, because this is quite critical for the continent, because you have now more African countries being part of this important group. And I think this is quite important. But also, I think the message the group will convey or will adopt in terms of what they will communicate to the G20 summit that's coming later this year in Brazil. We know that President Lula couldn't come because there was a health emergency that he experienced, and therefore he couldn't travel. But I think they are going to consolidate the message of the South, the message of BRICS, going to the G20, where you have many of these Western powerful nations. And you will continue to see BRICS and the South-South ensuring that they are united, they speak in one voice. And with Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas arriving, I saw him arriving, the issue of the Middle East will also be high on the agenda. You also have the United Arab Emirates, the president arriving yesterday, and therefore the Middle East question will also be high on the agenda.
All right. Thank you so much for that update. It promises to be an interesting few days, Sophie, and you'll keep us updated there with the developments. That is SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena. And of course, this comes as, you know, the conversations continue around the BRICS summit currently taking place in Russia. Remember, that country is now taking over chairmanship of the bloc, and President Cyril Ramaphosa, they're meeting with his Russian counterpart a little earlier on.